What's up, everybody? Ron Placone here, reporting for Status Coup. So, I have often said, half in jest and half mildly terrified, that I think there's a good chance we're going to see child labor come back before we see living wages. Well, this happened recently that kind of points to, oh boy, as a society, that's the direction we're going to. This actually happened in my hometown, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh area McDonald's owner operator fined nearly $60,000 for child labor law violations. Now, this happened earlier this month in December. A local owner operator of 13 McDonald's locations paid a civil penalty of more than $57,000 after federal regulators say they violated child labor laws involving 101 minors. The violations included allowing the minors to work more than 3 hours per day and after 7 p.m. on school days when the law forbids work beyond that time, later than 9 p.m. on school days between June 1st and Labor Day when they may legally only work until 9 p.m., more than 8 hours on a non-school day, and more than 18 hours a week during a regular school week. These are violations of the Fair Labor Standards Act, according to the U.S. Department of Labor. Now, you might be thinking, gee, Ron, this is one owner operator. Granted, they had a bunch of franchises, but still just one owner operator in one, for instance, in one city in the country. Is this really something to be so concerned about? Well, here's why this really stuck out to me. This is why this was a little more than just, oh, that's bad, and more like, oh, this is a sign of something deeper. Let's go back to the first paragraph. How many minors were involved here, you ask? 101. It's not like this was just 10 kids or something. 101 minors, not 101 Dalmatians and some crazy evil lady who really loves fur coats too much. No, 101 young workers. So that means in this area, there were 101 children who were working longer hours than they were allowed to, who was operating certain machinery they shouldn't have been able to operate, who was working hours they shouldn't have been working as far as the time of the day. And there was nobody, not one parent, not one manager, not one anything that said, hey, this seems bad. This isn't okay. When it's over 100 minors involved, that's a little more than just an anomaly and more of a sign of a systemic failure and a systemic disease. And that's the direction we're heading, folks. Look, I'm at the age where a lot of people my age, they're having kids. They're starting families. Hey, part of the reason I'm here, Jordan just had his first kid. And people are bringing children into this world. And the reality of what's going on in the contemporary United States is it is way easier for your child to be in a situation where they're going to be exploited completely than it is for them to go to college, than it is for them to have an opportunity to, quote unquote, get ahead. That's the contemporary American society that we're living in. And it's not like we're going to wake up tomorrow and it's like, oh, 5-year-olds are in the mines again. That's not how it works. It's a slow boil, folks. And it starts with things like this, which I guarantee you, this isn't only happening in one part of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. This is happening all over the frickin' country as we speak. I guarantee it. And this is where the trend starts. And it continues, and it continues, and it continues until we do get to that point where you might see 5-year-olds in mines again. I'm not freaking kidding. This is the direction we're heading. So you might ask yourself, well, how do we start reversing this trend? How do we start going the other way? And there are many answers to this question, but let's start simply. First of all, we really have to fight back against the feudalism that we're dealing with. We have to fight back against the oligarchs. We have to fight back against the exploiters. And there's a number of ways we can do that. And first of all, the first thing I'm going to bring up is there's something else that's really breaking right now that revolves around feudalism in the online space. That's right, in the online space. Now, some of you know I have been pushing a fight for antitrust legislation most of this year. We started before the summer because it was originally called Antitrust Summer, and we've still been fighting for a vote on antitrust bills, OMA and ACOA. Let's pull up the tweet column. We are getting down to the deadline. This is the fourth quarter. We're way past the 2-minute warning. Retweet to sound the alarm. Congressional leaders are deciding as soon as today whether or not to advance the big tech antitrust bills, OMA and ACOA. This is do or die, folks. We are in the lame duck session. They're going to break for holiday recess soon. Now is the time. Go to antitrustvotenow.com. That's antitrustvotenow.com or bidenpromise.us. Sign those petitions. Demand action be taken now, because this is antitrust in the tech space. What these bills do is they stop the practice of Amazon prioritizing their products and services over all other products and services in search results. What happens is you might be searching for a certain designer bag. Amazon makes a generic knockoff of it because they have everyone's data, so they know the bags people are buying. And then when someone's searching for said bag, Amazon's results show up first instead of the actual bag they're looking for. This is what they do to vendors constantly. It's also going to put a hold to what Google does when they data scrape from other websites and repackages it as their own and shows that first in search results, diminishing the traffic that other websites should be getting. ACOA ends that practice. OMA starts ending the monopoly that Apple has on app stores. The way the app stores work now is that Apple has a near monopoly. They charge these exorbitant fees to any alternative apps, and they dictate what software works on your devices. This ends all that. This ends the high commission fee for alternative and third-party apps, and it allows users to decide which software works on their devices. This is important antitrust legislation that starts chipping away at big tech's monopolistic abuses. So what are some other ways? Again, that website, I'll say it one more time, bidenpromise.us and antitrustvotenow.com. We're almost at the end of the fourth quarter, folks, and we have been fighting this most of this year. Let's go out with a win. I make a lot of football analogies for someone who's more of a hockey fan. But anyway, what are some other ways we can start fighting back against this trend? Well, we can also start small. And how do you start small? You start local. You look at local businesses in your neighborhood, or any of them worker co-ops, or any of them mom and pops that you want to go out of your way to support because you know that they support their employees, they're family run, they treat everybody right. Are you supporting community gardens? A lot of this is the monopolistic practices that go on in our food supply. Community gardens, farmers markets. Are you growing your own food? All of this starts to fight back against the new feudalism that we find ourselves in. We're not heading towards it. We're there. Okay? We're there. It could just get a lot worse. So keep that in mind this holiday season when you're doing your shopping. That's all I'm saying. And folks, I'm going to be on the road coming up in 2023. January 7th, I will be in San Diego, California. That's a free show, so good way to start the new year. If you're broke from New Year's Eve, come to a free show on January 7th in San Diego. January 28th, I'll be in Tucson, Arizona. That's a stand-up show and the premiere screening of my short film, Loner. We worked really hard on that short film. I can't wait for the world to see it. And it premieres in Tucson on January 28th. If you use the promo code Lucy at checkout, you get discounted tickets for that one. So get them now. That's a holiday special. Get them now, Tucson. February 10th, April 14th, and May 12th, I will be in Los Angeles, California for a string of 3 shows at the Glendale Room, working on my 2023 hour. See you on the road. RonPlacone.com for all details and tickets. And this is Ron Placone for Status Coup, signing out.